So for the most part, this is going to be totally different than before. The atmosphere is a lot more quiet, less people around, just because these are more of a kind of industry things like hospitals, whereas before it was more of the city center area. Here it's not better, it's different. It's nice to unwind a little bit. It's not like unwinding like at home in bed or something, but it's still like just a slower pace. Plus, I guess when I started making videos, I just turned them out because these aren't to be meant as like prize momentum. These are more of just like working the process and doing the work, so to speak, not as like metaphors of I do the work, but more like it's the habit of growing it. I'll say that quite a bit today just because it's maybe a theme of today, that I was out for so long doing other things that to do it now, it's refreshing. Or maybe it's a curse, I don't know. And whatever it is, it's a part of me, and I'm getting used to it. Because I mean, without things like this, I'd probably be at home sulking and probably Googling the stuff out of like random self-pity things. And everyone knows that self-pity isn't where it's at. It's easy for like anyone, I guess, to be caught up in their mind, which I mean, I'm guilty of that too, especially when I got off of a relationship. When I got off a long-term relationship, I totally, well, not long-term, short-term, I screwed it up. I botched it. I know for myself, I have certain like problems within my mind that I need to address. I think maybe because it's due that I don't have a traditional amount of success or whatnot, but there we go. But I'm sure as it goes through, it's just one of those things where it becomes more of a day-to-day and less of a sort of outlier of events. And I guess maybe that's how some people learn to just grow into it, because you don't learn it in school about like how you should just go around and be yourself and just do things, because resource-wise there always will need to be people who make things and work to make things, not people who use it. I figure that it's along that lines of like the useless job. I've heard that before in like speeches where it's sort of like people getting paid to keep the economy moving, but they're not really making something. So it's like maybe I'm trying to fill a niche into the spot of like the useless job, because people can always get friends and do things on their own, but if they don't have like something to like watch in the background when they're doing their non like community things, then yeah, it sort of fills in a niche like a radio host, but it's kind of a different demographic, I suppose, because people are always going to be going for different things, and that's just how life is. Plus, if anything, I'll become popular just being that person in Seattle, because if not everyone does it, then it becomes special. If everyone does it, then it's not special, or at least maybe that's like some kind of trope that people say, which it's true or not, I don't know. It's just I'd rather stick out than not stick out, because everything's such the same. And yeah, it's something I figure most people start. Even some people have better traction than I do starting off. I think I use the word traction a lot because it means momentum and moving, so it's kind of my jargon. I suppose if I was to be in an office of some sort, that would be my jargon I make my employees learn, which is kind of stupid, because when I think about it, I really don't even want to learn jargon myself from like places I worked at. It's just sometimes it's easier short phrases to cut into things that are long thoughts, just to cut through them. Wow, I realize having a sore throat. My mucus is just off the chart. I can't just keep spitting all over the place though. I got to handle myself for now. I just have to keep walking around and find garbage cans. I suppose it's better than if I had like stomach ache and I could keep finding restrooms. So I would take it as that. It's better than worse than of. Yeah. Also today, it's really weird. I don't know why, but I seem to get these weird feelings whenever I see mail that doesn't have a return address. It kind of makes me think about what's going on, because not everything's nefarious, but I guess even the media is making me start to think about certain things that are a little peculiar. Like paranoia. Yeah, that's, I suppose, the best word I could say. It's not being cynical, it's being paranoid, which that's not a good thing. That just feeds on the neuroticism, which is also bad for the most part, for all part. I mean, that's a part of how I am, so just have to accept that as is. Now, the thing is, like, the truth is, you know, how I segue this, if I break out of a neurotic shell and I start traveling a lot as I mature as a person, I go to other places, I will inevitably be a tourist, then a visitor. But in all actuality, I figured that pretty much everyone, as they're doing their things in their life, even if it's very stable, they're still sort of like tourists, the visitors, because I mean things are usually the same, but life is still nuanced. So that's how I see it anyway. It's not good or bad, it's just how I view the world as things. Wow, it's starting to drizzle. Not bad though. Still for one more video in Chinatown. I know I'll be uploading a different day, so if you're watching this in archive, it's gonna seem like it's peculiar because I'll be referencing the days in the future to a lot of the videos. It'll kind of be like a staggered forward, but that's because it's a description, and that's only temporary because I'm still building up the groundwork for the stuff. It's infancy, from considering that I may have like 1,000 videos already, but most of those are just short clips that were just to stretch out the routine before, like 4 years ago, I think. Now it's more of an actual going at it, which I figure it's good to have people who keep me accountable, so I can at least keep myself accountable. Yeah, it's good, but no matter how, like, you got people who like keep you accountable, I think in the end of the day, if you're not accountable to yourself, they can't motivate you. Coming back to the thought of the horse to the river thing, you can't lead a horse to water. It's like, I have people I want to lead to water, but I know that they probably won't lead themselves to water, so I just have to leave it as that. Because I mean, we all have our lives, and if they say one thing offhand real shortly, they may or may not mean it, and that's fine, because if I say I mean something, then if I don't mean it, then it doesn't matter either. I'm not exempt from like holding myself responsible. I still have to like do the process. So at that point, I'm gonna do it. It's just, the thing is, like, I don't really have an excuse not to, so at this point I'm gonna have to. And if things keep going as they are, it won't even be an option of if I want to or not. It's just, I'm gonna have to. And it's not sad, it's just a way of life that certain situations fold out this way. Kind of relating back to fate, or things of like, you have to do some things a certain way or not. I don't know if I do, but it sure as hell feels better to have some routine, or at least feel like I'm doing something. When I'm not doing stuff, I start to get thinking, and thinking's no good at all. It's too much in the head. Like before, I said too much in the head. So for that much, I know that I just have to go with the process. Not much to say, just going over between places to Chinatown, so gotta keep moving, and sunlight's been pretty good lately, so I don't have to worry too much about going dark. I do want to get down to the community center down, I think it's Yesler or whatever, because it's a good place to end, and it's a good place to just keep going with this, keep a line of thought. I don't usually head to the south end very often, sometimes with friends, but lately I haven't been because obviously I've been doing this a lot and this takes up time, just the whole moving around. But it's baby steps, which are better than no steps, I suppose. This video keeps going in circles. It's like dead-air radio. Can I fill it enough to get down to the community center 3 blocks away? No stoplights. I could be able to, but for this point I don't really know. I gotta cut my hair, at least the ponytail on my top knot. It's getting unruly. I cut the sides, those are easy to do by myself, but kind of the back I'll have to do that later. So a way to save money by me doing it myself, so more points to me on that. Back to like even keeping myself responsible, just seeing other people who are doing the same thing, it keeps me responsible because I see what they're up to and I know that if they're on their grind, I should be on mine too. So that's kind of keeping myself honest. You know, I gotta keep myself honest to what I'm doing, or at least try to, because I mean, what are we if we don't go after what we want? Regret really sucks. Whenever I miss a day and I start thinking to myself, it must be kind of how like a gym rat kind of thinks about, if they miss a day, they kind of think about what would it be like if I had not missed that day. Because I mean, that's a day of work they've got to put in, and they haven't put in 12 minutes. Probably at 15 I'll get down there, gauging the time. It's because of stoplights. Oh, I've just crossed. No, I can't cross. Short on time on the crosswalk. Hope it'll change soon. Yay. Okay, that felt really long, and just being silent wasn't really something I felt like that it was nice, because I'm always moving and it helps my mind thinking. I always cut that out, so, and just like right at the cut of it, like I can always cut that out. It's inner monologue to keep the ball rolling, because if I stop my train of thought, I'll just probably get into not a writer's block, the same kind of deal where I stop thinking, which I don't want that. Shorter Yesler is more of a kind of a project, even though right now it's kind of changing into a different community. Right now it's not, excuse me, the term projects isn't like a bad thing, it's just a part of the community, and it is what the part of it is. So I don't question it. I used to hang out a lot here, not right near, but down in Yesler area. It was a lot more what I was about. Now I'm kind of keeping different area, just because the different amount of like resources that I have and what I have to do to I'm very ambiguous, very vague. It won't be this vague, I promise. It's when it gets more personal and it can be more about other people's stories too. When it's so much about my stories and like me being me, then it seems a little bit like shallow. You're only getting a face surface because I also have to feed off of people. As it's such as a monologue, it's for like, it fulfills what it is, but it also doesn't it doesn't share. It is not a nature of sharing more about what it is. It's just I'm at me at my time, and I'm sharing what I'm saying. It is not, wow, the helicopters are loud. It's not more of what is around. It's not more personality. It's not more like self. It's very introspective. And at that point, I can apologize because at this point it's not very interesting. I understand 100%, and I understand that it's not entitled to like a whole lot of crazy amount of views if I'm not really putting out the extroverted kind of material where people can latch on to and feel they have seen some personal moving thing or whatnot. It's more of this is my exercise. People engage a little bit, but that's still a part of the exercise. It's not the total full thing. I keep hyping it up because I feel it's a whole different degree of interaction, which it's needed. I think it's needed, not as like fishes need water to air, more to like people need to see sort of a difference in how people are and different kinds of like styles, and hey, if you want to do this, you go do this, because I mean, you have only so many opportunities to do what you want to do. And like, I think people get caught up in their own like groups and they don't want to explore, or they don't think they can explore. But I'm sure after a month, at least 5 people will give the second idea of, hey, I do want to blog, and they might be ahead of me or behind me. It's not like there's a linear pattern of where they're at. Sure, I might have the technology down, and maybe my tripod might work really well in like outdoors. It's just right now, it's kind of the thing where I'll do it for what it is. I'll grow and do more as it is, and then once I'm done with all of that, that's when the real projects come out, and that's when I really start attaching. Then do I think I'm entitled? No, I still don't think I'm entitled to that, because in the end of the day, people are free will too, and I can't make people accept what I'm doing for lack of English. I can't make them accept what I'm doing. I mean, there's sort of it'd be nice to, but in a realistic way, it's never gonna be like that. Things are never how people want it. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. I think that's why what is it, that phrase, I'll end it on this, life isn't fair, but it's good because it's not fair, because you can have better or better opportunities that are available. If everything was fair, everything would be like 1 to 1, but sometimes you get 1 to 0, and sometimes you get 1 to 10. Between that spectrum is kind of like where hopefully you get like the most out of what you want. I can't say personally that I'm getting the most of what I want right now, but at least I'm trying to get at it. So these confirmations are kind of to myself, as like a lot of these videos are just to myself. There might be little personal like snippets of my mind, but for the most part, it's kind of just me doing the process. Doing the process. I suppose today's a lot about just being out. If I go to parks and stuff, I mean, that's still early on. That's before I start really spending money and going about it. I'll be like more personal, because I'll be able to see things, interact. But for the most part, right now, it's still just do it to do. And looks like there's a lower street that connects down. I usually walk down for the overpass. It might connect back up for the most part, but yeah, that's all I can think about right now.